and I went in there with them. Boom. I just start shotgunning mad pants down the leg. I'm taking fucking mountain jackets, mountain lights, all this crazy shit. And
they didn't even have the Lizzies back then either.
They didn't have them on those.
Yeah.
But if they did, I knew. And I had the clipper with me. So I was breaking them in there. And there's these 2 white dudes in the store. This is before they had the dudes with the big black suits outside.
Yeah.
That wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So boom, these 2 white dudes in the store. They look like lumberjacks or some shit. They didn't give a fuck. They're just talking to each other about like bows and arrows and shit like that. And we're in the back, just young kids just going, having a field day. So boom, I wreck them. I walk out and I go put the shit in the car. Like I took 2 jackets, 2 pairs of pants. Then I come back in. These niggas are still in there and shit. Then they leave, they come back. So when they come back, they attempt to take a steep tech. They did have alarms. The steep techs had the zip-in hood.
Yeah.
So they had the alarm
on the
inside.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they didn't know that. So boom, they walk out. I was in front of them. So they were like 20 steps behind me. They were like 20 steps behind me. I'm walking out. I got more shit down the leg and shit. They had these long bill hats. And they were like monochrome. Like they were just one color. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
They had orange, like a mustard yellow.
With the white North Face logo or the black one?
Nah, it was just all straight.
Yeah, it was all the same color.
So boom, I take a bunch of those, throw them down the leg. They was like in a tin bucket.
And they were thin. They're real thin hats. Like
they were hats. So I walk out. These niggas is behind me. I hear beep, 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 beep. I'm like, oh shit. So now I see the guys running to the front.
What, you think it's you?
Nah, they didn't, because I was already
saying, you thought it was you.
Nah, but I was already shook because I had that shit down the leg. So I'm like, damn, they're gonna come grab me up.
Yeah.
So
run past you.
I start running. And it's wintertime. So there's like a grassy little knoll thing that then it goes back to the concrete.
Yeah.
I step on that shit and I go flying. And I bust my shit all over the floor. I'm rolling around. I get up. Then I
have a visual of that would be priceless.
Then I start running to the car crazy. But I'm like, because back then they had the motherfuckers that just patrolled in a car.
White car.
Yeah, like
there
around
wasn't that many stores back then either.
There wasn't. So boom, I get to the car and I'm hiding behind the car and shit like that. Like, thinking that they're not gonna see me, so I'm looking to see, like, please let them go, because how am I gonna get home? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to find my way back on the Amtrak or some shit. And the guys just took the shit back from them and let them go. We went home. But after that, it was on. Like, it was on. Like, I needed everything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just racking.
Everything.
Dang.
I needed everything.
So I'm racking nonstop. Then we was into racking for money.
Loot racking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we took that shit up a notch. Like the Bronx niggas took that shit to a different level. They was on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they was making drug money off that shit, like real bread. Hefts, you know Hefts.
Graham. Legendary,
Rhino, all of them. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of put us on to shit, but we had our own wave, and we were racking like in the city a lot, and there was hair products. I don't know if you remember Emergencies.
Yeah.
Son, them shits was like fucking almost $100 or some shit for a bottle of hair thing. So when we came through with it uptown to these fucking women, they would much rather buy from us for $20 because they had absolutely. All they get off, from the company, they probably get like $20 off or some shit. Yeah. So we would go up there and we wanted to be fly. So we coming through with North Face pants and fucking teddy bear sweaters and shit like that. And like there's a lot more to it of me getting into gear and shit, but I was just always into gear. I was always into sneakers. I had kicks when I was a kid. I had Huaraches, Barclays. I had Deion Sanders. A lot of the fly shit that everyone goes crazy for now, I had that shit as a kid. Like, I had a lot of it. I know you did, too. And I know you did. Rebels like a sneaker.
I remember you were harassing me for those Barclays, remember?
Yeah. Which ones?
With the three-way strap when I had the OG one?
Yeah. And that's another thing. So there was this is 98, and I guess it was him that put motherfuckers on to this spot.
Sneaker bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, this shit was the illest shit ever.
It was a time capsule.
Dude, no lie, I went in there. So I don't know who you put onto it.
This kid Sean in high school put
But
me
how
on.
did we get onto it?
From Bunny.
I just told you where to go.
Who'd you tell?
I forgot who it was. Maybe 8 or maybe you. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
So we found our way up there. Eno had the cable van back then.
Rockland County.
So we went up there.
Exit 10, New City.
And we walk in. It's like a little what are those shits called?
Little strip mall.
A little shop and strip
Yeah.
mall. So there's an Asian like,
and he was the second store in.
Yeah.
And there was like a fucking a laundry mat, and there was like a FedEx or some shit.
All of that shit.
And then there was that.
Rebel got a picture with him.
Guaranteed.
He's the only person that has pictures in that store.
A million pictures.
So I go in. My nigga, I damn near fall the fuck out when I walk in this motherfucker. I'm like, what the It was like
Steve
walking.
Krasinski.
It was like walking into the past. Like it was
time
ill.
warp.
Yeah.
Yo, they had and this is a time when none of this shit was on
Yeah.
the internet. There
Yeah.
was none of
And
this.
it was only a few years later too, like from their actual release. It's just nobody had them.
97.
Yeah.
97.
Exactly. So this is before internet and
Yeah.
websites
Yeah.
and all this shit. So boom, walk in there. They got all the Jordans. But when I asked for this is before any retros. I think
Yeah, no,
the
just the
retros
three.
were just coming out.
Three
this
and
time.
the two. And the one, actually. One was 94
So you talking
retro.
about but this is
90
way.
yeah.
I'm talking about way.
Oh,
after,
yeah.
When
Yeah.
we were there,
Because
I
the
think
4 started in 99, and that's before that.
So we were right there before
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first retro came back out, like the popular retro.
Yeah.
So he had them all there, and seeing these Jordans brand new, that shit
On
was,
the shelf.
it was mind blowing
Yes.
because at that time it was just something that didn't exist.
Yes.
So I'm like, yo, what's good with these? Like, do you have our sizes? He's like, nah, like some dudes from Japan just came.
No. It was Karen from Small Earth.
That's what he told me.
Small Earth.
He was like, some dudes from Japan came here a week or two
Yeah?
ago and cleaned
They
everything.
came with trailers. They
Cleaned
came
it
with
all
trailers.
out.
Yeah.
But then they still had all the Barclays, the Agassiz, all this shit was in there. So I bought whatever I could buy in that because at that time we was making wild bread. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I was
Yeah.
just buying whatever they had in my size. I bought all of it. Boom. And I was like, yo, we'll be back. You know what I'm saying?
We'll be back.
We'll be back. And I came back.
Yeah, man.
And they just didn't have a lot of things in our size. He would let us go in the back a little bit, but not too much because we was wilding. And then one of our peoples, who's a fucking idiot, the dude was so cool, man.
Yeah, Steve.
He was in there and they had fucking hockey jerseys and shit, everything. They had the
Game
hang-
hats, starter hats.
This
everything.
nigga goes and tries to rack shit in there. So like, and the guy found out. So he didn't like us after that. Like he wasn't friendly with us anymore when we started going in there. Cause this nigga couldn't contain himself and he needed to steal something. You know what I'm saying? But Rebel I met after in like 2000 something. I met Rebel on a sneaker. I was on the sneaker line. And this dude was in front of me. So Boz was in front of me, right? With some girl, and he's hugged up on this girl and shit. I don't even know who this nigga is. So I'm with my man Rich, and we're like, Rebel pulls up in the car, and he's with Dave Labels. So you parading his hat around and shit. So I'm like, I'm telling
Parading
it. You're doing the most. And I'm like, oh shit, that's Rebel right there. Because I already knew who Rebel was. I didn't know Rebel personally, but I would see him in the village back then. And then like be at Footworks and shit like that. I would see him outside. I'll be with like Dak and fucking other people that we ain't gonna talk about
Other
either.
people.
That these niggas can't stand.
Associates.
But anyways, I would see them. I would see Rebel there and shit because Rebel was big on the gear shit. Everybody knew. And I always knew about Rebel through like being stylish with graffiti. Whenever I talk about graffiti, when I get into it, like the history that I know about, there's the old school niggas like Astros and Chino, and they used to catch the big
Gate
black
tags.
gate tags at the tops. And then you had like what I call the leaders of the new school that came in like the mid 90s and started making noise. And they had like ill throw ups and just advanced style of tagging that was different. And to me, like Rebel was one of those dudes.